Wow, that was the Flying Scotsman. Welcome to Partick Hill Station. Well, hi everyone. I'm sorry, I didn't realise there were people in there waiting on me. I had a bit of an issue there. I was trying to go ahead with the live broadcast, and then I got a notice from Streamyard saying, you're out of space. It'll cost you $4.99 a month for this. It'll cost you $10.99 a month for that, so on and so forth. Big sales job. So the update is that I have cancelled my account with Streamyard. In that process, they got back to me and said, oh, before you cancel, we'll give you 40% off. I said no. So then they tried to incentivize again with something else. And I said no, cancel. And then they said, okay, if you cancel, you will lose your saved videos. Okay, because in YouTube, it'll be there until Kingdom Comes. So I've done that. I've made that decision. Just hang on. There's quite a number of people here. Surprisingly, Leopard's Tail, yeah. Tom Houston. Dundas James, Hot Dog Andy. Yeah, so anyway, I've cancelled. It's a done deal. And what I've got is 9 days left. 9 days left with Streamyard. So I think what I'll do is I'll do a short video every day for the next 9 days and take advantage of the time. And you know, I'll come up with something, maybe just a quick chat like this, or maybe I'll show something, whatever. In the meantime, I've been looking at a couple of alternatives. EV Mux, yeah, EV Mux, I think it's called. It seems to be compatible. It's very close to what Streamyard are doing, and it's a bit cheaper. Now, the thing is, we won't be held ransom. I'm telling you, I won't be held ransom. You shouldn't be held ransom. You know, I think the time will come, from what I understand, YouTube is taken over and it's producing more and more services. And eventually it will provide us, the railway modelers of the world, with a platform that suits what we do. So in the meantime, I might not have 3 or 4 cameras around here, but I'll be able to get online and chat with you as I'm doing now. Now, this particular time, I'm just running off my iPhone because I moved too quickly on this, and I've got to go out and do some chores. So yeah, EV Mux is one, and eCam is another, just in case anybody's interested in looking at something else. Now, the alternate to that is the one that I think Alan in the loft uses. And it's a bit more complicated, although I believe there to be 2 different systems. One is a complicated setup and one is a lesser complicated. And I'm not sure which one, who is using what. So yeah, it's been interesting, the feedback that I've got. There's been many people commented, some of them saying, what's StreamYard? So I put a lengthy description in response to that inquiry, that question, just outlining, you know, basically what it is. You can go live, you can record, you can do shorts and push it through into YouTube, or you can go directly into YouTube and bypass StreamYard. At the time I jumped into Streamyard, probably like everybody else, because it facilitated a couple of cameras, but it didn't always work, and that was the frustrating part about it. Often I found that the camera would drop off for no particular reason. Now, was that deliberate by Streamyard? Not really sure, but there could be a conspiracy theory out there somewhere. But what did work was inviting myself in through my email, and that seems to work. And so Donegal Dad, I think he's a bit of an expert on that, because whenever I watch his videos, he's got a couple of laptops there, and he's mentioned this before. That's the way to do it, is to log into your computer, go into, send yourself a message with an invite, and then just accept it and go through, what is it? Not Facebook, but go through the other software, and boom, you're in online. And that's the way to do it. And, you know, if it's the free option or $10 a month, then I might do that. Let me just have a look. Barnabas Junction. So just use the free version now. It works, yeah, perfectly for what I need. Yeah, exactly. But it was interesting to explore it. What I didn't like was the negative billing. Like, I had no idea I was being charged 45 US, which equates to around $60 Canadian. And, you know, when you think about it, $60. Now, let me just see here. I've got something. It might be off the track right now, but I got a Lima Class 37 for $60. So let's do the math on that. I could buy, instead of paying the $60 to StreamYard, I could buy a $60 locomotive every month. Now, that would be interesting, but they wouldn't be DCC. And does it really matter? Do I really need a new loco every month? It's not as if I'm being sponsored or supported financially. You know, like, I do it because I want to do it. I want to put my stuff out there, let you see it, and have some dialogue and Discord with you. Who else? They ramped up the cost for the paid version about a year ago. Wow. Yeah, that's just been ripping me off so badly. Hi, Choberton. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I'm a member of the StreamYard community, and there's a lot of chat goes on. I get on my phone, and I've got enough stuff to look at without going in and look at all the chat that comes in with complaints and technical problems and all the rest. Never paid any attention to it. And then I saw this message. It was somebody said, you know, I'm an OAP, and I just found that you're charging me $45 and I can't afford it. I'm a long-term subscriber. I have to quit. And that's sad, how they snuck it in there, that negative billing. I just hate that with a passion. And so someone else said, oh, wait a minute, before you do that, here's the link. It will take you to billing or support or whatever it was, and tell them. So the guy did that, and he got back to me and he said, well, they offered me 40% off, but 40% off was still 2/3 what I had been paying in the first instance. It just doesn't make sense. So the two young guys who designed this system must be raging, having sold a company that they built themselves, worked hard to establish that, and provided great service for everybody who jumped in and supported them. And they're off now, sitting pretty, and hopefully they'll be working on a new concept to come up with a new system. But in the meantime, nobody ever said, oh, by the way, we're going to increase the costs. Now, I've had this done before. You saw my tested T-shirt. Well, the story you may have heard. I think I mentioned it at the weekend, but in short, Adam Savage and Norm Chan are tested.com. And Adam Savage came from Mythbusters. So, they did a blog sort of daily. It maybe started out weekly, then became daily. Lots of interesting stuff that I really enjoyed. Science, mechanics, electronics, making stuff, just incredible stuff. And I was absorbed in it. So yeah, join us, and it'll only cost you $7 a month or whatever it was. And I was like, yeah, okay. And I got the T-shirt. I mean, I paid for it, but I got the T-shirt. Tested. And everything was going great. And I was down in San Diego at San Diego Comic-Con, and unknowingly, I stopped this guy who was in cosplay, and later found out it was Adam Savage. And then another time I was there, and he was dressed up as a character from Star Wars. And then this other time, I saw this guy coming out of the hotel heading towards the convention center, and he had a spacesuit on. And I think it was from The Covenant or one of these movies. Spectacular spacesuit. And I stopped him, said, "Excuse me, sir, do you mind if I have a photograph?" Yep. He just stopped and posed, and I took the photograph. Oh, that's tremendous. And your cosplay is fantastic, and I touched his arm and tapped it and said, "You make all this yourself?" And and he lifted his visor and he said, "Don't punch me." And I was like, "What? You're Adam Savage." And his handlers, who were just up the way, like, "Shh, shh, shh." And then he walked off. I was a little bit pissed that he said, "Don't punch me," right? I mean, he's 6 feet or whatever. I'm not 6 feet. Anyway. And then I unknowingly interacted with him another time when he had a bear cosplay outfit on. And sometime after that, let me just have a quick look. Yeah, leaf blower, Choberton. Yeah, so sometime later, Norm Chan, and I've met him. He's a really nice guy. He came online one day and he said, "We've had discussions, and Adam feels that the business model is not returning enough financial support to him through this YouTube platform." And so your subscription of $18 a month, whatever it was, will soon be cancelled, and we're offering a new upgraded subscription. Right, upgraded. Yeah. So it was more expensive. And the other thing that annoyed me was Adam does these weekly or daily podcasts. Always very interesting. But if you want to ask him a question, you have to be a registered subscriber. So you got to pay your $15, $18 a month, wherever it might be. And doing that, you can write in a question. And every time he does one of these podcasts, he's got a couple of sheets of questions. And if you're lucky, he'll read your question out. So you see, that's what's happening in the podcast world. I understand, some people have to make money because that's what they do as a living. People like us, well, I can't speak for everybody because I don't have a pay-as-you-go system, anything like that. But some people, in order to keep their channel growing and going, and rightly so, offer incentives for people like us to help them continue the growth of their YouTube channel, and that's fine. Like, don't have an issue with it, but that's just the way things are going. So, I'm quite happy to tell everybody, Streamyard, you might want to let that one slip, depending on your situation. And as Jason points out, and rightly so, all you need is a camera and your laptop, and you're all set, and you can carry on from there. As I said, it's nice to have additional views around the layout, but there again, I also said you can facilitate that by inviting yourself in, and I'll probably experiment again to see if I can get a couple of iPhones in there and see how that goes. But I think I will definitely, after some time, move on. I'm not sure when that's going to be taking place, because I'll be going away in December, and I'll be back in town a couple of times between then and March. So during that period, I'm going to make every effort to get online, to make videos of interesting things that I come across, and hopefully trains wherever I am. Any port that I'm in, I'll look for a local model railroad store and see what I can find. That's a problem. If you travel, you can't take your railway with you. Because Joanne said to me, "Oh, why don't you take some stuff with you?" Like, I don't want to be carrying glue, and I can't carry a soldering iron, and I can't carry a little drill. And what I do carry is a sketchbook and watercolor paper, and I do sketches and little paintings as we travel, and I post them on Instagram. So you can always track me that way. But for anybody else out there who's all of a sudden realised they're getting scammed for $45 a month, and it obviously never pained you because you never noticed it get taken out, and you weren't short of a bob or two as a result. you know, to build your collection, you can cancel Streamyard, go the basic route, and buy yourself a local every month for $60. It might just work out for you, and you might not need a new local every month, but that could be a little adventure for you. That's a goal, to go and see what you can find. Go around, and here's the idea: go around all the flea markets, swap meets, shows, and make a day of trying to find a local for $60 or the equivalent in pounds. I don't know what that is these days, £35 or something of that order, and bring it back to your station, check it out, clean it up, get it running, or make it a little project that you have to fix a little bit, add some new parts in. That would be the way to go. I'm still looking for that Lima. Okay, just hang on. So that's the Lima that I got for $60, and I got it from that friend of mine who has a booth whenever, or a table whenever there's a model railroad show on, and $60. I didn't haggle with him, and it's in a box. Took it home. Oh dear, there's a buffer missing. I checked the box and it wasn't there. I saw him at the show in Whitby. I never said that to him. I just said, the Lima's running great. And that conversation led to, well, you know, Hornby bought Lima, and they changed it. They used the models, the bodies. They did this, they did that. And they used them for the railroad edition. Well, I did not know that, although somebody may have mentioned it in passing on one of their YouTube videos. But yeah, that runs great, and $60, you know, that's a steal. And as I say, in there's a little decoder. I'm not sure if I'd put it in there. I may try an older model and install it. And it says something about, you know, a 9-pin GST plug or hardwire it is probably what I'll be doing whenever I get started on that. And in terms of the plug for the controller, so the story is you can get a 15-volt 1 amp or a 15-volt 4 amp. And for my needs, the 1 amp would suffice. So I've ordered it from a guy in New Jersey that I found through Amazon or eBay, whatever one it was. Getting delivered to my daughter in Nashville, and we'll be there for Christmas, so I'll pick it up then. And after Nashville, we're coming back here. I might not have time to test it all, but I'll have a look at it, and that'll be another little project to be getting on with. And the ammeter can go in to check the older locos. I'll do that. And there's a few other things, little projects that I have in mind. And I've got a whole slew of wagons here that are empty, and I can easily make loads for them. That's pretty simple, sort of no-brainer. And my Clyde puffer with the 3D printed lifeboat. Yeah, you can see it there like that, right? Still to do a bit of work on it. I'd still like to get a couple of little bits printed. I have the glass for the table because the surface was destroyed. So I'll need to cut the glass and get that printing again. So that's something else to look forward to. Never meet your heroes. There's a lot of truth in that. However, let me tell you, back in 1980, here in Toronto, I had the great honour and privilege of meeting Sir Douglas Bader. I shook his hand. I thanked him. I told him it didn't look like the actor that played him. Someone took a photograph of me shaking his hand, right? And I also have some prints by Robert Taylor that Sir Douglas had signed, along with Johnny Johnson and Adolf Galland from the Luftwaffe, who was also in attendance for this occasion of the 40th anniversary of the Battle of Britain. So yeah, you can meet some of your heroes. And I've met a few musicians and football players over the years. One of the football players was Willie Henderson, a Scottish guy. He was a winger, and I used to go to the stadium when we were off school for the holidays, and we'd wait in this little parking lot opposite the stadium, and the players would arrive, park their cars, and walk across to the stadium. So we would walk along beside them, either chatting to them or saying nothing. And all the greats were there at that time in the 60s. And, jumping forward to, I guess, the last 8 years or so, whatever it's been, I met Willie Henderson for the first time in 50 years, whatever it was, right? And it was very emotional because, this guy was a real hero to me as a wee boy. And the funny thing is, I said to him, "Hey, Willie, I used to look up to you," because he's, like this height, sort of. So that was, you can meet some of your heroes. Some of them you can't, or you might be disappointed. That whole thing. Okay, so touchy subject. Meet your heroes. There are a few of you out there that I'm dying to meet and shake your hand, give you a hug, whatever it is. And I heard that some people were snubbed by whoever, and I don't know who did the snubbing or who was the snubbee or snubber, whatever you call it. That's really uncalled for. I've been out with my daughter and we've been stopped in the street because people know her, right? And she's always very gracious, as is her husband, because he's as well known. And they're always very gracious, take selfies and chat and make people at ease and whatever. So that's why I always respond to a comment, good or bad. I mean, I've had a couple of negative comments the last while, thought about it, and then just responded saying, thanks so much for taking the time to comment. I appreciate that everybody has their own opinion and their own ways of doing things and so on and so forth. Maybe you'll come back another time and see something you like. I'm not going to get my knickers in a twist. I'm just going to try and be civil if it occurs again. So, and I know that all of you who were at Getz were all thrilled to meet each other, and I saw it in your faces when you all gathered at the hotel and the photographs that were taken. And yeah, it's one thing to interact over YouTube or Streamyard or wherever it might be, but meeting people in the flesh, so to speak, is something else altogether. Now, there are 10 people in here right now, or 10 viewers, right? And as I said to you, more often than not, I'll go out after this is done. I'll go into YouTube and there'll be multiples of that number. And I've never really found the answer, but I just assume that those people don't try to enter the chat, that they're just viewing in YouTube. Yeah, and I'm writing a script for a movie with 99 other writers. I might have mentioned this. We were each requested to write one page of a story. And how it worked was the first person came up with the idea, wrote the page and passed it on. So we'd go online, everybody, the other 99, download it and read it. And then the person who did the first page, they were closed out of the conversation. So the second person wrote theirs, deposited it into the system, and then they were locked out. And this is how it went all the way down. And I was page 91. And the producer said, this is a pivotal page, Charlie. Like, oh, pressure. I mean, the last time I wrote anything of any significance was a note to the teacher to excuse me for not being at school yesterday afternoon. As it happens, myself and a few friends decided to go and get some literature and film knowledge by going to the local cinema to watch Lawrence of Arabia. Yeah, so the result of that was 6 of the best. Anyway, that's life, right? What's happening here? How many have merch? Yeah, I don't have any merch. Yeah, Democratic Republic of South Yorkshire. That's a good one. Toxic. Yeah, like because I'm into the art stuff and whatever, I know a lot of different people doing different things in different places. And some of them I do support a little bit, just like we all support somebody on our model railway community. And it's difficult to keep track, and I should do a review of what my subscriptions are, so that I don't get ripped off. But that was a sore one. So that's yeah, that's a lot of money. Not realizing it was getting sent out over the last year. Anyway, I sent a note to the original designers of Streamyard, telling them of my experience, thanking them for making the system and wishing them luck in the future, and hopefully they would come up with another similar concept. And how we were all surprised and disappointed by the undisclosed increases that were laid upon us. So, well, look at that. 36 minutes have gone already. And Adam is on. Hey, Adam, how are you? How's the weather there? ScotRail's Dave. Dave's the man. Yeah. Flymo. Yeah, you're right. Sometimes it happens. So I've been seeing reports of flooding in England, which is terrible. Like, that's awful. And I guess you've been getting snow up north. Here, it might be, it's sunny today, and it might be 8 or 9 degrees, maybe 11. And, you know, sometimes we get a snow dump in November and it hasn't happened, doesn't look as if it will. And often it turns out that it's not a white Christmas. And we've been away sometimes, like we went to Florida one year, to Disney and those places, and it was freezing. And in fact, I think the following year we went to Cuba, and it was freezing there. And in Florida, they lost the citrus harvest because of frost. So, you know, if you're going to go south for the winter, and you're really searching the sun, then you need to go further south into the Caribbean to be guaranteed of good weather. Anyway, what's yeah, Tom, well, thanks for dropping. Kenneth Moore, yes, saw it. Thank you, Choberton. I was just tongue-tied for a minute. Kenneth Moore. Yeah, it's funny. He does look like him, right? And if you're interested, go on to my Instagram, Charlie McGowan 1104, and you'll see the photograph in question. Yeah, of me shaking Sir Douglas's hand. Yeah, Leopard's Tail. I bought many of my locomotives and wagons and coaches early on eBay when everything was fine. It was all hunky-dory, no problem. And the cost of postage was fair, right? And I could get stuff from the UK. I'll show you. So years ago, I found this on eBay. Heavily weathered. Looks fantastic. And somebody had initials on the bottom of it. And it says RW. And somebody tried to overmark it or destroy it or whatever. But it's been well detailed, and it's got a driver and yeah, it's got two figures in there and glass on the windows. So I did pay a lot of money for that, and I got that from UK. And touch wood, for the most part, I've always said good luck not being charged duty. Once in a blue moon, I would get charged. But I was charged $20 or $25 for them to handle that package from TCS, which I was pissed about, but what are you going to do? But as I'm going to Nashville, not on the last train, but I am going to Nashville, I've got a couple of small items that I've purchased from Amazon, whatever, getting delivered to my daughter's house. And that would save me a few bob that I don't need to pay duty on. And on top of which, I think when we're coming back into the country, it's either $800 or $1,000 of duty-free product that we're allowed. So I would never reach that amount. Although I did bring in a diamond for my wife from South Africa. Shh. Hope nobody's listening. I didn't declare it, right? So, yeah. So I'm not sure what I'll do over the next few days. I'll pick out a couple of trains each time and let them run, and we can have a chat. Doesn't necessarily have to be a long chat. I might just do one for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever, just to get some dialogue going and get you guys' opinion. Oh, yeah, keeping all right. Vaccine time, so a bit low. Yeah. Yeah, so, hi, Todd. Yeah, vaccines. I'm being encouraged not to get the COVID one, but I'll probably get the flu shot. There are some people we know were a bit low down the day of or the day after, or a couple of days from the flu shot. And the other thing I'll probably get is a pneumonia shot. I've had that, got that a few years ago, and they recommend it, so I might get that too. I know it's a topic that not everybody discusses, so we'll sort of leave it at that. I'm still working on my trees. I posted a short on it. You might have seen. So that one's coming along. It's a bit taller than these ones. Just change it out a bit. And, you know, thinking about doing a bit more scenery. I'm not really sure if I should leave that corner like that, because in the back there's a hole. I mismeasured the table, and there's an opening there, so I might fill that in and then put something else in there. But it suffices for the moment. And, you know, smoke and mirrors, that's what it's all about, smoke and mirrors. Create a cameo here and a cameo there, set up the camera and let the train run. And then nobody knows whether it's a huge layout or a small layout. You know, and I realised that trying to follow the train around doesn't really do it. If you set up the camera, get people's attention, and they like that. So that's the way I'll be continuing with it. So, okay, let's just see one last time. We won't ask how you brought it in. Very funny, Flymo. Andrew, you didn't hear a thing. Well, that's good. Don't tell anybody. And I actually had to, I'm trying to remember, on the way back from South Africa, I flew into London, then I flew up to Glasgow, and then back to London, and then over to Toronto. So, yeah. Yeah, Todd, around about this time of the month, I'll need to check, but there's a model railroad swap meet in Mississauga. I was there, I think, last year, and I made a video about that. So maybe you, maybe Dave, I don't know, might end up going there if it is in fact this Sunday. I picked up a couple of things there that were useful, and I showed them in another video. And if I go, I will take along that Bachman Harry Potter set. It's sealed, still in the box, and see if I can get any takers, because I don't think I'd be opening it up to bring it out, and I may as well sell it. And you know, maybe there's an interested party that's got a kid who's a Harry Potter fan, and it's an introduction to model railways, and it means I'd be able to buy something for myself. Anyway, guys, thanks very much for taking the time to drop by. As I said, there is lots of competition out there. We should support each other at every opportunity, and reconsider your provider for producing videos and posting them on YouTube. And check everything out and pay close attention to your subscriptions. And we'll see you next time here at Partick Hill Station. Bye for now. Cheerio. Wow, that was the Flying Scotsman. Welcome to Partick Hill Station.